Alright, Bahamas, we on our last episode in our series Cleaning House. So this one got to be a good one. This is going to be the most important one of the year. The most important episode of the year. I speak it into existence. So let me do a quick recap. So here's the situation. Every year we fast. We start the year off right, so we fast. But Bahamas is a process to fasting. So in the very first episode of Cleaning House, what did we talk about? I'm doing a recap because it's the last one. It's the third installment. So it's a process. It's a process to fasting. This is an important one. So in the very first episode, what did we talk about? What we spoke about was this. Jesus said some demons only leave through prayer and fasting. Period. Some demons will only leave through prayer and fasting. So we spoke about was it makes no sense to fast if you don't clean out or clear out your life of some demons. You got to remove some of them. So that was one of the most important episodes. That was the first episode to kick us off. That if you're going to fast, it's a process to this. And a part of this process is it just ain't about you dieting and trying to lose weight. No. You got to remove some demons while you at it. And then what was the second episode? The second episode is where we saw Jesus said, when the demon comes back to his home. So you already cast him out. So you had your fast. God opened up your eyes and you cast out some demons out of your life. But when that demon comes back, he comes back to his home and he meets it cleaned and swept. So what we spoke about there is the only way to cast out some of these demons through a fast is to clean your life up. You got to turn away from your wicked ways. It ain't only about the fast. You got to turn away from your wicked ways. You got to clean up your life. So some of that pornography on your phone, you got to get rid of that porn. You got to get rid of that. If you're in an adulterous relationship, you got to get rid of that. Come on, if you're a procrastinator, if you're keeping your own self back in life by blaming others, you got to get rid of all of that. So we spoke about turning away from our wicked ways. And now we're in the last episode of the series. And what we're talking about here in Cleaning House is the fact that some demons only leave through prayer and fasting. That was part one. When you do your fast, clear yourself out, clean out some demons. Part two, time to clean house. Why? Because when that demon comes back, he meets your life cleaned, swept, and things are put in order. So that means you got to remove some of those wicked things out of your life. And then part three, which is the date, it says that when the demon comes back, he meets your life cleaned and swept. And he brings back 7 more demons more wicked than himself. Because he meets the place empty. And that's the key to this one. So when that demon comes back into your life and he meets the place empty, what do you fill that void with? And that's the key to this. Because you turn away from your wicked ways. So what's going to make you feel like you're watching porn? Simple as that. See, I'm keeping this one real. What's going to give you that same fulfillment as alcohol or drugs or marijuana or weed? How are you going to fill that void in your life when you remove that adulterous relationship? How are you going to get that same sense of fulfillment? Because the demon is going to come back. And he's bringing back 7 other demons. So he say, you know what? You kick drugs, but I can bring women into your life. That's why a lot of people say, you know what? I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I like plenty women. Or some people say, you know what? I don't even mess with women. They trying to get in my pockets. I want my money. I like plenty money. Or some people say, you know what? I don't even care about money. Once you give me a joint to smoke, a beer to drink, I'm happy. So there's substance abusers. So you're empty. How do you fill that void? And that's what we're talking about today. Let's go to work. And watch this, Bahamas. I got a story for y'all, but I got to warm y'all up first. So we're in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 16, and we're talking about how to fill that void. You already cast out the demons. They came back. They met your life swept and clean because you turned away from your wicked ways, but now you're empty. So what do you fill yourself up with? Because now you get 7 more demons trying to enter into your life, and they're more wicked than the rest that was there. You was a womanizer, but now you're doing some other stuff. You're on drugs. So what do I do? Or how do I fix my life so they don't find me empty? And by empty, I mean you looking for that sense of fulfillment. You searching. And listen to this. We're in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 16. And without faith, it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's what you fill yourself with. Because God said, without faith, it's impossible to please me. What God is saying is, an impossible is such a strong word. What God is saying is, suppose you was baking a cake and you ain't got no flour in the house. It's impossible to bake that cake. It's impossible. You can't do it. You're not prepared. So what God is saying is, when these 7 demons come back, you have to be prepared for them. And without faith, it's impossible for you to be prepared. Let's go deeper. When you go into Ephesians chapter 6, what does it say? Put on the whole armor of God in order to fight the wiles of the devil. And above all, put on the shield of faith in order to block the fiery darts of Satan. I can put it up there so y'all can see it. That's the most important thing to fill yourself with. That you can't fill yourself with. Is faith. You gotta have faith. You gotta believe in something. You gotta be willing to die for something, and it can't be money. So let's continue on. We gotta go deeper into that one. So without faith, it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is. So what does that mean? You must believe. See this? It say you must. That's a strong word. You must believe that he is. We talked about faith for this entire episode. Because it's impossible to go into this new year if you ain't have faith. So it's impossible to please God without faith. So you must believe that he is. So what is God to you? And the problem is, a lot of people believe that he is a great God. A lot of people believe that he is a loving God. A lot of people believe that he's a forgiving God. But see, that's weak faith. Let me tell you why that's weak. Because there could be some people out there who believe that he is my Father God. See, that's the big difference. Because if you just believe that God is loving, and then your child dies, then you can start to question God. But when you believe that God is my Father, who is he to you? And that's the key to faith. Let me explain what I mean. Let me go deeper down. I'll give you a good example. Let's say you say that, you know what, Brent Simonet, he's a rich man. In fact, here on earth, he has the power to control the government. He has the power to create laws. So you believe all these different characteristics about Brent Simonet. But there could be somebody else out there who could believe that Brent Simonet is their daddy. That's their father. And so Roland Simonet is their great-grandfather. You see, that's a different type of favor. What I'm trying to tell you is, I can believe that Brent Simonet is a rich man all I like. I can believe that, you know what, if I do business with Hot Mix, I can get some subcontracts. I can believe that. But for the person out there who believe that Brent Simonet, in fact, they don't even believe they know Brent Simonet is their daddy. And Brent Simonet got a father who's a Roland Simonet, and that's their granddad. They get a different type of favor from me. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is, it says you must believe that he is. But what is he to you? You got to define that this year. You got to define this. Like when Joshua went to them and they said, you know what? You can worship the gods of your ancestors, or the gods across the river, or the gods of the Egyptians. But for me and my household, we will worship the one true God. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Who is God to you? And that's how you define your faith. And let's continue on. And it said, without faith it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is. Simply put, the reason why you say that our Father prays, because that's my Father. See, I don't know nothing else. I don't know why bad things happen. I don't know why bad things has happened to certain people. But what I know is that's my Father, so I ain't questioning him. And it says, for he must cometh to God. He whoever cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So what does it mean to diligently seek God? Because see, for a lot of people, that doesn't even make no sense. They hear it and people are saying it. But how do you diligently seek God? See, it's the reason why David was a man after God's own heart. Because he diligently seeked God. And what that meant is, he wanted the presence of God in everything that he did. It doesn't matter what David was doing. David could have been out there killing people. It doesn't matter. In the middle of a battlefield, David in the war, and he killing a bunch of people, and he need God there by his side. It doesn't matter what David was doing. He always wanted the presence of God. He never turned his back on God. And that's the key to diligently seek God. I don't care what it is. I don't care how bad it get. I trying to seek God in that. I don't care if my child died. I'm trying to see God's favor. I'm trying to see why this happened, because all things work for good for those who love God and call according to his purpose. So I don't care what it is I'm going through. I'm looking for God, and I gotta see God in it. I'm like David. I'm on the battlefield. I'm killing a bunch of people, but I'm looking for God to say, you know what? As bad as this may be, where is God in all of this? So let me tell you what we're talking about today. That's a warm-up. So I'm warming you up, Bahamas. This is going to be the best episode. So let me do a quick recap of that. We're talking about faith. And what we're going to talk about is 3 different people. And we're going to look at the stories of 3 different people, because there's 3 different levels of faith that I need you to get to. We're going to a lower level, then a medium level, then a high level of faith. So that's what we're talking about. We're looking at a story to discuss faith. But the reason why we're discussing faith is because fasting is a process. And the process simply is this. If you're going to fast, don't do it to diet. Do it to cast out some demons, because God said some demons only leave through prayer and fasting. And then the key to that is, in order for those demons to leave and leave for good, is you got to turn away from your wicked ways. You got to turn away from the porn. You got to turn away from adulterous relationships. You got to start and turn over a new leaf starting this new year. Why? Because all those are open doors. That's how demons get in. So you got to close some doors. It don't make no sense casting out them demons, but a bunch of doors still open. It's like you running the burglar, but then you still leave the door unlocked. Now, you got to clean up your life. You got to cast or turn away from your wicked ways. And then you're going to be void. Why? Because the demon's going to come back to their home. And they're going to bring 7 other spirits worse than themselves. And they're going to say, what? You know what? You missed that wicked lifestyle. You missed that drug lifestyle. The streets, they keep calling you back. How do I stay out of them streets? And there's only one thing that can fill that void, and that's faith. You got to believe in something bigger than yourself. Because without faith, it's impossible to please God. Because God said, put on the whole armor of faith. Why? That's the only way to shield yourself from the devil and his fiery darts. The things that he's going to throw at you, going to throw everything at you. Women, money, cash, it doesn't matter. He's going to throw it all at you. Poverty, hardship, sickness, death. He is going to throw it at you. And in order for you to defend yourself, you got to put on that shield of faith. So we're talking about faith today. We're looking at different levels of faith. Let's go to work. All right, Bahamas, we're picking up where we left off. We're talking about the 3 different levels of faith. And this one going to be the best episode, because you're going to need this to prepare yourself for the new year. If you don't fill your life with faith, or you don't fill that void, or you don't know how to fill that void, it's the same way when the disciples said to God, teach us how to pray. And he said, start with our Father. That's your Father. You start with that. It's the same thing with faith. Teach us or give us faith. Start with that. Our Father. This is my Father I'm talking to. I can have faith in him. I can't have faith in nobody else. As bad as this world is, I can have faith in my Father. Let's go to work. All right, we're in Mark chapter 5. We're picking up where we left off. The 3 different levels of faith. Now listen close, Bahamas. At verse 22, and behold, there came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet and besought him greatly, saying, my little daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. So here it is. This is a low level of faith. Let me tell you why this is a low level of faith. Because the only thing he was simply doing is saying this. I know that God can do it. I know that God can heal my child. So I'm going to beg him to heal my child. So that's just a basic level of faith. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. So here it is. You got this guy saying, come and lay hands on my daughter. And chances are he probably saw Jesus lay hands on the blind and they could see. He probably saw Jesus heal lepers and they were clean. He probably saw him touch the ears of the deaf and they could hear. He probably saw him pick up the blind or the lame. He probably saw him pick up the lame and they could walk. So this is something that Jairus is coming with. He probably saw all of this. He said, you know what? Come lay hands on my daughter and she shall be healed. It's a very low level of faith where you say, you know what? God is good. And if I ask him enough, he'll do it for me. but it's a different level of faith. And watch this now. And behold, there came the ruler of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. What's the important part here? Because I'm going to explain why this is a low level of faith. It says he was a ruler of the synagogue. So this is the ruler saying this. And if we look back, remember what Jesus said when the Roman centurion came to Jesus. The Roman centurion was also a ruler. And what did he tell Jesus? He didn't tell Jesus to come lay hands on his servant. He said, just say the word. Remember the story. It was a Roman centurion who was a ruler, just like the ruler of the synagogue, but he was a pagan ruler. And he came to Jesus. And what did he tell Jesus? Because see, this is a different level of faith you're talking about. When he came to Jesus, he said, I have a servant who was at the point of death. So just like Jairus' daughter is at the point of death, the Roman centurion, the ruler of the Romans, said, I have a servant who's at the point of death. And I want you to heal him. And what did Jesus say? Jesus said, I will come and I will heal him. And then the centurion said, no, just say the word. That's it. Just say the word and he'll be healed. Why did he say that? He said, just say the word and he will be healed and my servant will be healed. He said, because I'm a wicked man. I'm not worthy of you to come under my house. He said, listen to me. I'm a ruler. I have men under me. I tell them go and they go. I tell them come and they come. I tell them to do this and they do it. And I tell them to do that and they do it. So just say the word and my servant will be healed. And what did God say? And Jesus said he marveled at it. He was astonished. He was surprised. He says, such faith I have not seen, not even in Israel, not even the rulers of the synagogue. Because remember now, the ruler of the synagogue wanted Jesus to come lay hands on his daughter. But here you have a pagan ruler is telling Jesus, don't even come into my house. I don't need you to lay hands on anybody. Just say the word. So what is it that the Roman ruler knew that the Jewish ruler didn't know? It was one thing. What that Roman ruler knew. And this is the crux of his faith, or this is where his faith stemmed from. What he knew was that life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's as simple as that. What that Roman ruler knew was that simply God did not plant grass. He did not plant trees here on earth. God spoke it into existence. He spoke the waters into existence. He didn't have to go out there and take buckets of water and dump it on the earth from heaven. He just spoke it all into existence. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's why you had the Roman ruler who could say to Jesus, don't even come to my house. Just say the words and my servant is going to be healed. Because see, that's a different level of faith. When you understand God for who he is and what exactly he can do. It ain't something you've seen before. Remember now, he never seen this before. He just knew it. The evidence of things, hope for the substance of things. And see, that's what hope or that's what faith is. So let's go a little deeper. So there's two levels of faith. I'm trying to get you to that real level of faith in a minute. But let's just do a quick recap. So you have one level of faith where you would have the ruler of the synagogue. And that's the average person who knows that God is good, who knows that God is a great physician. So you're going to beg and you're going to plead. You're going to get out on your knees, just like this ruler, and say, God, this is my daughter. And I know you could heal her if you want to. Come lay hands on my daughter. If it's your will, just please do it for me. So it's a very basic level of faith. And then you get another type of faith. The type of faith who I know, listen to me. If God talked to the wind and the waves, they just be still. That type of faith. If God talked to the sun, then the sun is freeze. If God talked to the dead, then the dead is wake up. It's a different type of faith there. If God talked to the fig tree, then the fig tree is die. If God talked to demons, then they do what he say. And that's the type of faith that the Roman ruler had. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Once you say it, it's done. That's it. It doesn't matter how it ends up. Whether the person die or whether the person live. It doesn't matter. Because what heals the person is their spirit. God is going to heal that person either which way is already done. You already speak it into existence. So whether this body dies in the case, it doesn't matter. It's already spoken, it's done. Because life and death is in the power of the tongue. So that's a second level of faith. Now we're going to talk about real faith. This is a part I really wanted to get to so I can take my time on this part. So I listened to the whole story. We're going to listen to what real faith looks and sounds like, Muhammad. And never forget this. It's going to help us throughout this year. At verse 22, and behold, there came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet and besought him greatly, saying, My daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay hands on her, that she may be healed and she shall live. And Jesus went with him, and many people followed and pressed against Jesus. And a certain woman who had an issue of blood for 12 years. So Bahamas, because we talk about real faith now. 12 years, this lady been sick for 12 years. This is a different type of faith. So listen to her story. For 12 years, she had been sick. That's a long time. And has suffered many things under many physicians, and has spent all that she had, and was no better for it, but rather grew worse. So here it is, this woman was fighting a lot of demons. Because first of all, what did it say? She suffered many things under many physicians. So that means there's a level of distrust there. After you get experimented on, after you get abused from these different doctors, you done. You don't trust nobody. So that's demon number one, a demon of distrust. Then it says she spent everything she had. She spent all her living. So that means she ain't had nothing. She fighting the demon of poverty now. So it's a demon of distrust and a demon of poverty. So they ganging up on her. And then part 3, it says she's only growing worse. So what does that mean? As life goes on, year after year after year, her life is getting worse. So now she's battling a demon of depression. Because now she don't know what to do with herself. Like keep on getting worse year after year after year. Ain't nothing given. Ain't getting no better, God. And so now you up this woman, she getting ganked. So she got these 7 spirits. I just named 3, but she got about 7. So 7 spirits more evil than the other one, and all of them ganging up on her. So listen to what real faith sounds like. And when she heard of Jesus, and see, that's the key. So here it is. I need more for all them demons. And then things change. Because in the very next verse, when she heard of Jesus, that one called over. So when she heard of Jesus, she came up behind him and pressed through the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be healed. So see, she already knew what the Roman ruler knew. Because what did the Roman ruler know? He knew that life and death is in the power of the tongue. He said, God, just say the words and my servant will be healed. This woman, she ain't waiting for no one else to say it. She ain't even waiting for God to say it. She said it herself. This woman said what the Holy Spirit spoke in her heart. She said, you know what? If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. In fact, she ain't even waiting for God to lay hands on her. She laying hands on God. Come on. Hey, you know what? She like the people. You know the people you say who owe you money, and you say, wait, when I catch this person, I can put hands. I can't wait to catch him. That's how it is. She putting hands on God. So here it is. You got the ruler of the synagogue. He was going to God and asking God to lay hands on his daughter. This woman said, I can reach out to God. And then you had the Roman centurion, which is a different level of faith, who said, God, just say the words and my servant will be healed. But then you got this woman, and look at what she said. She said to herself, if I could just touch him, I could be healed. So she spoke life into her own body. She spoke health into her own body. Because what did it say? She went through all this bad stuff was happening up. But then she heard of Jesus. Let's continue on. And straight away, in fact, let's start from verse 27. And when she heard of Jesus, she came up behind him and pressed through the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if I may but touch his clothes, I shall be made whole. And straight away, the fountain of blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about and in the crowd and said, who touched me? And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude pressing up against thee, and thou sayest, who touched me? And Jesus looked about around to see who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had been done in her, came and fell down before Jesus and told him all the truth. And Jesus said to her, daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be thy whole, or be thy free of the plague. All right, Bahamas. So we're discussing the 3 levels of faith. And I never want you to forget this. What was the difference? Now follow me now. What was the difference between the Roman ruler's faith, the ruler of the synagogue's faith, and this lady with the issue of blood faith? Why was her faith greater than all of their faith? And I can give you the example to explain. I give you an example. Let me give you this example. So when David went to war and it was Goliath there, it was thousands of other Israelites who had weapons. Thousands of them. Thousands of other Israelites could have picked up their weapons and killed Goliath. But David was the only one who had the faith to say, you know what? If I got to go pick up these 3 rocks, Goliath dead. That one call over. See, that's a different type of faith. It's a different type of faith when everybody else can do it, but you was the only one who say, you know what? I get done this. This one call over. What I'm trying to tell you is, what make her different from everybody else is that everybody else was touching Jesus. Everybody else had the capacity to touch Jesus. Everybody else could do it. But she was the only one who said, you know what? If I touch him, I could be healed. See, you realize that's something personal. I don't care what the other millions of people doing. I don't care who else pray. I don't care what they're doing out there in that church. This woman said, if I touch him, and listen to what Jesus said. Jesus said, daughter, your faith has made you. And look what he said. He said, daughter. So that tells you it's a relationship there. What I'm trying to tell you is the crux of your faith. What puts you on a different level from anybody? I don't care how much you know the Bible. I don't care how much you know that life and death is in the power of the tongue. I don't care how much you know that God is a great physician. I don't care how much you know that God can lay hands on people. I don't care about that. The crux of this is, the most important thing is for your faith is that you know that, listen to me, that's my Father. And once you know that that's my Father and you believe that, that one called over is that relationship. I don't care if you do the exact same thing I'm doing. Everybody else can be touching Jesus. But if I touch him, what that means, everybody else can be praying. But if I start praying, what did David say? Everybody else can be out here with weapons. But if I pick up a slingshot and gotta go get these rocks, that one call over for Goliath. I can kill any demon. And that's what this woman knew, and that's what this woman did. It said the minute she heard about Jesus, the minute she said to herself, I just need to touch it. And that is what faith looks like. That's your personal relationship with God. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's between you and God. It ain't what you say, it's what you believe. So God bless you and bless us. God us, protect us. Please grow our faith. Please guard our hearts. And please bless our lives. In Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.